Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to my podcast, Bridging the Seen and Unseen. I am your host. I am Shane McLain. Sean is in the background for Gwen tonight. But I'm really excited about tonight. The guest that I have tonight, last week, I had Nathaniel Elwell, Nate Deal Double G, and he was talking, about his girlfriend, which he's super super proud of, and I've never had a chance to really talk to her, and so I'll do. Let's bring Morgan Caldwell out.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Hey. Thank you for being on. It's a pleasure having you. I'm really excited about this, because I did like an 8 week thing to where, I had different psychics on because, I like seeing where their thought processes are, and stuff like that. So before we get started, won't you tell everybody who you are and a little about yourself?
Okay, so I'm Morgan Caldwell. Sometimes I go by Morgs the Medium. So there's certain people in the paranormal who know me by Morgs. So I have, well, what exactly do you want to know? Like what I'm doing now, where I started?
Well, yeah, no, just who you are, just like you're a psychic. You do this. You do whatever you do.
Okay. All right. Sorry, ADHD brain.
It's fine.
Nope. So I'm a psychic medium. The main way that I read, I don't necessarily do private readings. I more do organic readings. Like I'm out and about, spirit comes to me. That's typically how I give my messages. My messages come in very interestingly. A lot of them are pop culture references, and then they can be completely off the wall, make no sense to me, but they're not my messages. They don't need to. I'll bring it into the reading that I'm doing, and it tends to track. Even when I practice with Nate, I've gotten some very obscure ones. One thing that I tend to do, and anytime I read someone, of course, I'm going to pre-warn them and say, hey, is it okay if I go forward? I don't like just throwing messages on people. One thing I've learned that I do, and I don't do it all the time, is I tend to poke at people's shadows. Um, Sometimes I say it flat out. I not blunt. Well, I try not to say it bluntly, but sometimes when spirit's there, things just come out as they do. A lot of the times I won't directly say it, but there's been certain people I've had in moments with where like their deepest, darkest things that they've even kept hidden from themselves will kind of find their way to the surface, or some of the darkest traumas that they've been through. I don't like necessarily that I touch that on some people, and I do it the same thing to myself, because I'll be on the phone with Nate and I'm like, well, this is why this is making sense now, and I will unload memories that I completely forgotten about from the past. Um, but everybody but that I've done a reading like that, it tends to help them. It makes them a bit lighter, and it takes a bit of that darkness off of them, because people don't always realize it. Some people don't like to acknowledge it, but you do need the dark and the light. They need to balance. You can't just be all of one. That just doesn't work. Another thing that I do, I don't typically mention it, but I do connect with animals, living and past. I do oracle reading. I have the most obscure method of it that nobody's ever seen, and I can tell you what I call it later, because I don't like saying it publicly what I call it, just because people sometimes take things funny. No, and I guess that's just what I do. I mean, I've been seeing spirit and since I was 3. Tried shutting it off, not very successfully, for about 20 years, but still actively did readings, at least with friends and family here and there. You come across a lot of people when you have abilities that say you have abilities and believe in you to a point when they can use that to their advantage. And then the second that you're like, I don't really want to do a reading, oh, well, you're full of crap. You can't actually do what you say that you're doing. So it's been a big struggle of me to push myself out there. But the past 3 years, I just randomly decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to have to do it after I had a specific visit, because I tend not to do messages for myself. And it kind of was like, all right, this is it. I know I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to come out there and help people heal in whatever way that I can. So that's just what I've been doing.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal. Now, you said a couple things. Pop culture.
Mhm.
Like, what exactly do you mean by that? You know, as far as
As the pop culture, so it depends on the reading. The one that sticks out the most in my mind is with Nate. Actually, there was two with practice, because when I do readings for people, it's not my information. I'm just a conduit. So it's not for me to obtain it. So unless I have to explain something so many times and somebody's like, no, it doesn't make sense, and then they told me it made sense later, that's the only time I typically retain it, or
oh,
unless they tell me. Because when you give messages that aren't for you, why would you hold on to them, is how I see it. But as far as the pop culture ones go, the only ones I can think of would be with Nate. And I don't know if he's in the comments. I know he was trying to call his son. But there was one that we were doing practice, and I was like, this is going to sound completely obscure because it doesn't make sense with wherever it is that you have me remote viewing. But well, actually, I astral there, but I was like, I don't know what it means. I was like, but he looks like the Penguin. I was literally seeing the Penguin from the Batman movie, the Donnie DeVito Penguin. But another one was when I was doing practice with Nate. Um, I was on a ship and I was like, nope, it's very much, it's the Black Pearl. It's unsinkable. It's the Black Pearl. I'm seeing Pirates of the Caribbean. I was like, and when I get the pop culture things, sometimes they're obscure. So I will test spirit. Maybe I shouldn't, but where I'm working on the confidence, I do. And I'm like, if you come with something obscure towards me, if you come at me with something obscure, I'm going to have you show it to me 3 times, 3 different times, not 3 consecutive times. If I start on another thing, you show it to me, I'll then acknowledge it. So I was on this ship that I kept saying was unsinkable. It was the Black Pearl. And I kept seeing a little monkey. I was like, all right, this monkey has continuously came in. I'm seeing the monkey from the Pirates of the Caribbean. The exact same little monkey has popped in. There's a monkey on this ship. And he was like, no, I researched it. There's no monkey. I was like, okay, I'm telling you there's a monkey. So I can't Google for the life of me. It took me about 20 to 30 Google tries, but I found, so the place for this one was the USS Constitution, which apparently the Black Pearl was designed and based after, because the USS Constitution was unsinkable, which is why the Black Pearl was called unsinkable. But there was a little capuchin monkey, the same type of monkey that used to be there in the 50s when they did dinners on the ship.
wow,
Yeah.
and it wasn't noticed.
So it's a very little known fact. So I actually went to like a workshop with somebody that was doing it at a local Mason lodge. And there happened to be a gentleman next to me who worked on the USS Constitution for 10 years. And I was talking to the person who ran the event, and I was like, no, I get the most obscure things. Like, I got a monkey on the USS Constitution, but if you look it up, there was a little monkey named Rosie. And the guy next to me was like, you know about Rosie? Like, completely shocked, because not many people know about Rosie, but he worked there, so he knew who Rosie was.
Is
So
there a reason why you would get pop culture like that? I mean, is there like an like a direct meaning, like or is it just something that happens like when you're by yourself or you're with Nate or something like that?
no, it happens all the time. I think honestly, it's probably because I get it with songs too. It's anything pop culture related. Like sometimes I'll see a photograph that's like a famous photograph. It's just all different things. But I think it's just because like I've always had a love of music, and movies especially. Movies have always been my favorite thing. I mean, if you look behind me, there's a pop culture like explosion back there. I
Yeah,
love all
yeah, I
different
see
things.
that. I
Yeah,
see that. That's
I think it's
awesome.
yeah.
So I mean, it's like, I've talked to some, and you said a mouthful there, because there's a lot of psychics out there that call themselves psychics that aren't really psychic, and it kind of gives like a bad projected name towards when you hear somebody with psychic. And I'll be honest with you, I am an archbishop. I'm an archbishop for an order, for our church and things like that. I am I work in the paranormal. um I work cases for people, and people are like, but you have psychics on. Well, listen, I believe as a Christian that every person that has a level of discernment, and discernment can come in different levels. Whether, okay, I go into a situation, I think that's a bad situation, I just discern that that was a bad situation. And I believe that there is different levels of discernment. And I believe having gifts like that, or a level of discernment. Um, for instance, me, I get premonitions and visions that are not good. Um, like, bad things are about to happen if I get them. I don't know why I get them. I don't like that I get them. But I'll give you just a quick example. I was in the car with my mother, and we were in the left hand lane of the car. And this car pulls up next to us. And I remember it clear as day. I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I can see the kid waving at me. I can see the kid waving at me. And then all of a sudden, my ears started ringing. I started getting this insane premonition, this vision of a bad, bad accident. And it had something to do with my mother right then. So I came out of it, and it only lasts a little bit. And I came out of it, and I told my mom, I said, Mom, listen, I said, when this light turns green, do not go. And she says, what are you talking about? I said, listen, Mom, I know you probably think I'm crazy, but please do not go. The light turned green. She stayed. She stayed. The people with the kid that was next to me that waved, they went, and the 6-wheel dually truck ran the light to the left and came right through, T-boned that car into a concrete light figure, killed everybody in the car and everybody in that truck. That would have been me and my mother. That's just one example of that. It's happened with my wife. It's happened so many, and I really can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it. I started getting them more when my grandmother passed away, and I do believe that my grandmother had that because, like, for instance, when my grandfather passed away, when my grandfather passed away, all three sisters, my mom, my two aunts, they woke up at the same time and knew what was going on. And a lot of that carried on, with me, which I have asked so many mediums, psychics, let me get your what you're picking up on, when I tell you, about my premonitions and visions. What would you call that? And like why is it only bad? Why is it only You know, they say in the Bible that a prophet is never wanted in his hometown.
Mhm.
Um, and it just seems like when I get them, something always happens that's not good. It's happened in my dialysis center. It's happened. So what are your thoughts behind that? And like what how could you help explain that to me?
Well, I'm going to say it's very interesting that this was all brought up because I spoke to Nate. We only had like 5 minutes to talk before I joined, and I was like, no, I'm going to ask Shane. I don't know, I don't know Shane very well, but I want to ask him if he has abilities. Yeah. You definitely have abilities, but also your grandmother, she is definitely one of your spirit guides. She's one of your closest spirit guides. I
Mm,
feel you already know that. Um, as far as the premonitions, I know you're open to things, but are you sure you're open to everything? Because I feel like you do have other abilities. It's just that's the main one that comes through, but that one comes through for protection. So even if you don't want it to come through, because I'm sure there's been many times where you don't want it to come through, you try to block it. You're like, why this gift? Why not a different gift? It's meant because your guardians, your guides, your angels, whatever you choose to call them, they're doing it as a way to protect you, a way for you to help save yourself, make sure that you're safe, but also save your loved ones because it's not just you and your family. It feels like there's also, I can't tell if it's a friend or a neighbor. There's been people other than your immediate family that you've had this about. But I feel like there's times that you may give warning or words of advice without exactly explaining it.
yeah, yeah. That's exactly what ends up happening. And I just like I said, I don't I don't really know besides like premonitions and visions. I don't know if I'm supposed to call it something else. I don't look at myself as, you know, a psychic or anything because it doesn't happen all the time. You know, it's been literally it has been mm, 7 months 7 months since I've gotten one, but the last one I got was was in my dialysis center.
Mhm.
Um and I was sitting in the chair and
Oh,
all of a
this one
sudden
feels heavy. Sorry.
uh,
No, I'm saying I have like a heavy feeling all of a sudden. So I feel like this one was kind of a doozy, I guess, for lack of better words.
yeah, this is a really now there was a guy sitting next to me, and the guy that was sitting next to me was deaf. He could not talk. And I got this vision, and I saw this vision. Now I'm in a dialysis center, so I saw this vision of these tubes, and it had blood in the tubes that were going up and down like this. And it what I really couldn't explain it. I thought it maybe, you know, had something to do with one of the nurses or something like that, you know. So I just happened to look at the nurse that was right there, and I said, "Listen," I said, "I just got this crazy." I said, "Please be careful." And not only right after I said that, right after a nurse came through with the blood bank thing that they drop the bags and stuff in, and
Mhm.
she knocked it over, and
Mhm.
the blood went under the chair of the guy that was deaf. And that night that night he went home and he went to sleep, and he died in his sleep, and he died, and they found blood in his lungs. So what I was seeing was the blood filling up in his lungs.
Um, don't it feels like you hold guilt for that. Don't, because that was such a vague vision that you got. There's no way you could have deciphered that. That's the
No,
thing with it. You get things as you get them. You can try to ask and push for a bit more, but depending on whatever is giving you your messages, whatever you choose to call them, they don't have to listen to you, and they can't always fully explain it. You hold so much guilt for that. There's no guilt that you need to hold for that.
I do, because I want more than anything to understand it. I want more than anything, why, you know, I have so many questions. Like why was I chosen to see bad stuff? Why does bad stuff always, come up as a vision like that? Why can't it be, you know, uh, you know, a graduation, or running through a field, or I mean something. I mean, I don't mind having premonitions and visions. I don't mind having them, but I
Mhm.
just wish, I mean, like my wife, for instance, it happened because her father was a really bad man, and we were taking a walk outside one day, and she said, "Oh, I forgot something in the house," and I had one immediately. And I told her, I said, "Listen," I said, "Don't go back. Don't go back to that house right now." There's something going on there. I don't feel comfortable with you going back there. Just don't go. And she goes, "No, it's nothing. I just have to go get this." Well, but like, this is the same man that held uh, a survival knife to my wife's stomach. He was a very, like, Morgan. This man would sit and turn the Christian channel on at the house
Mhm.
and sit and rock like this, and his face would be beet red with that vein coming up in his neck, like he was that angry at what he was looking at. And Angie goes in the house. It was like her wallet or something. We were going to go to the store or something. She goes in the house. I'm outside. All of a sudden, her dad and about 20 of his friends pulled up in the yard and surrounded the house. Didn't want to let my wife go. Like, were threatening her, and things like that. And Angie came back to me and she says, "You were right." And I was like, "Listen, I had to explain to her the same way I'm explaining to you, that this happens, and she was like, "Well, how did you know that?" And it was like, because, I get these intuitions that that may or may not be, to the person's benefit. I said, but it will help you one way or another. And that's what I've got to look at.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, like I don't really know what you call it. I don't think I'll ever know. It's not like prophecy. It's not like I'm a full blown medium. But you are right. When you had that conversation with Nate, I do have a skill level, like, well, not skill. I don't even know if that's right. What is it? Can you tell me that at least? Like, what is this? Like, and why would I have such a thing as that?
So it all goes into what your beliefs may be as far as what I can try to explain I'm feeling from it. But before you started telling the story about your wife, it very much feels like if you believe in past lives, and I never used to, it's only like the past 10 years or so that I do. it feels like in this life you were brought back here to be a protector, because that's what you are. Because anytime you get a message and you know where it's supposed to go, you do your best that you can to protect people. But it's also, and I'm not sure if this is specific to you and Angie, but it's something about an angel on earth. So it's something like you were sent here, and it feels like there may have been conversations like, I don't know how, but I know you were sent here for me. That, and I'm sorry if that got a little personal with me asking for permission.
Please,
I'm just gonna stop.
please,
No,
please.
so I'm gonna say for you two, it seems more like a special moment, like you were both sent here, and I feel like the two of you have had conversations that go down that route, like the way that things line up, your paths. You shouldn't have crossed paths. You shouldn't have lasted. You guys have been through so much, but you were
Oh,
sent here, and you're made for each other, and you know it. There may have been times where you bicker and you argue, you butt heads. That happen. It's almost interesting because it's as if you were sent here for her. That's part of it. Your premonitions, your precognition. You were a protector. So if you believe in past lives, I would take that as, because the way I look at past lives, you come here again because you are trying to work on something that you were not happy with how you did it in the past life. Maybe regrets, something horrible you could have gone through, something that you wish you could have done better. So maybe, and I'm going to say maybe because I'm not trying to dig too deep into you because we are on a podcast, maybe in a past life, you felt you didn't stand up for somebody or protect somebody in the way that they should have been protected. So in this life, the gift that you chose to be your most prominent, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but earlier I said I kind of danced around it, but it feels like you may not be fully opening all of your gifts, because I feel like you do have other abilities.
Hmm.
But the thing is, you have to practice them. That's what I've learned. And the more that you practice, they're never going to be fully easy, but the easier messages can be to try to understand them, the more that you work at it. But as far as the precognition thing, it's very much you are a protector in this life. That was your main goal. So that's why that's your main gift. And I know you try to look at the positive, and you should be looking at the positive, because you get what you get to protect you, your loved ones, but also people that you don't even really know.
Yeah, that's very interesting how you say that, because Angie and I have been together over 17 years.
Mhm.
We got together in 2009. Angie was in a really bad depression, really bad depression. And I lived 4 houses down from her. And she came driving by one day, and I came out in the road and just looked like this. And I was sitting on the porch and I was writing these rhymes, and then all of a sudden here comes this little blonde girl, and she wanted to introduce herself to me. And we went for a walk, and that was February 24th. I met her at 3:30 in the afternoon. Well, was it 3:30 in the afternoon? But we made it official that night on the 24th. So we've actually, no, we made it official the 25th. So February 25th, we've officially, and then our wedding date is February 27th.
Mhm.
And I am her protector. She will tell you very clearly that you would rather sandpaper a rattlesnake's butt than to mess with my wife when I'm there.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that I wouldn't do to protect her. And you hit the nail right on the head with that one. That is my best friend. That is my soulmate right there. We are supposed to be together. I do believe that. It's something that we have lost friends over that. Because of how close we are.
Mhm.
We have lost friends, and I mean, it's a shame that it goes like that, but it does. People look and they're like, "Oh, you guys make me sick." you know, and that's because we are as close as we are. You know, she knows like I can look at her and say, you know what, I really want, and she'll say it. You know, I mean, it's so strange, but I do feel that in this life, no matter how long it took, that I am supposed to be with her and she is supposed to be with me.
Yeah.
So you hit that dead on. You hit that dead on. And I thank you for that, because like I've never heard someone say that before. I've never heard not one medium, not anybody say that, especially about my wife and I. So I thank you for that, one. And two, I think it's very interesting because that is 100% God given truth right there. And you said that that I may need to practice for other gifts like that. Now, that's one thing that I am very careful, you know, because I don't want to say my religion. I want to say my belief. My belief. You know, I believe that if God wants me to have a gift, then that gift will be known.
Mhm.
I don't think I should, you know, just go out and practice to see if I've got any of these others without it being shown to me first. If that makes sense to you at all. I don't
Oh, it does.
I try not to get into the theological or religious aspect of it. I do tell, you know, my guests, you know, what I do, you know, things, but most people already know. Like
Mhm.
you probably already knew.
I had an idea of it, yes, but so maybe I didn't quite fully explain. So when I meant practice, so when I practice, I don't go out and practice things that I've never done before. I just practice the way I normally do. I just sit there, I listen, I look to see what I can get. And that's when my gifts tend to expand and I get new ones, just me doing what I always normally do. It's not me reaching out. And also, how I said earlier that I don't typically do like readings. I have such an issue getting paid for readings. Um, I know it's just an exchange of energy, but I have an issue with it. That's why I choose to do it where it's organic, it's in the wild. If somebody's meant to have a message, they get a message. I don't go there and practice different things, but so for as far as practice goes for you, I would say maybe I don't know if you meditate or just sit there quietly and just ponder your thoughts, but even if you just sat there and said, you know, I am so grateful for this gift that I have. It has
Yeah,
been so helpful. It helpful in so many ways, but is there any chance that you could also show me some of the good so I could help people, yes, avoid danger, help protect people, but
that's a
also
good
help
point.
bring some more good into their life to help maybe in a way. So the way that I'm feeling energy right now, okay, so it's definitely what I'm supposed to say to you in the way that without, and it's not like throwing religion in anyone's face, but in a way that they have more faith, because I'm not necessarily a religious person. I believe there's greater power. There's something there. I don't quite know what I believe. I just know, you know, I know there's something out there. But even if it's people who do not have a certain faith, if you are able to get a vision that shows helps show a way for them to get a little piece of good in their life is the best way I can think to say it. It would also help build some faith in them for whatever it is that they choose to believe. So it's not you asking for too much. You're just willing to take on more than just the protector role and willing to, if they will let your gifts expand, help in that way as well.
That's very, very interesting, you know, because like a lot of, you know, not just gift wise, but you know, when I'm talking to someone about an issue that they may be having, like when I work cases, my wife and I, we work cases together. And you know, to get the families, to my wife is a healer. She is 100% a healer. I've never seen anything like that. But I couldn't put my left heel down for 2.5 years. She put her hand over my back. I felt a radiant heat come off of her hand. She was praying, and I sat down and she says, "Do you feel any different?" And I really didn't feel any different. And when I stood up, I was actually able to stand on my foot that I haven't been able to for 2.5 years. So I do know that she's a healer. And when we go into people's houses and things like that, we try to leave, and we do our best to leave them in a way better position than what we came in there for. And I don't know if that can correlate with what you were saying, but that's where a lot of our gifts come in there, because we have 100% success rate. Like, we've never been on a case, whether it been dark, whether it been a person that passed, uh, whether demonic, anything of that. We've never had a case that her and I together couldn't handle and leave the family in a way better position than what they were in. I still talk to them, and I mean, I'm hoping that that kind of flows into what you were saying.
Yeah, that you'd be able to give them like a vision of the hopefulness in the future that they so desperately need in that moment.
Right. Because like, if we're able to fix this, and a lot of it is like because of what they have going on in their household, they no longer have that. And then I'm able to, because like, our method is a very theological method. It's a very biblical method. Like, we use frankincense, we use holy water, we use holy oil, salt, things of that nature. So when we use that, people see that we're using a biblical way of ridding a really bad problem, and then it draws them closer to their faith. And it's a beautiful thing, Morgan. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, and I don't know if it correlates with what you're saying there, but it does sound like that, because that's when I feel more at peace. That's when I feel like I'm really helping people, and that's the protector part. And it's not only just a protector for my wife, but when we go to take these cases, we take these cases dead on. I pray 3-4 days before we ever go into a case. We ground, we protect, we do everything that we can to make it as smooth as possible, and it has definitely worked for us.
No, it because sometimes when people speak, I can kind of see what they're saying before they say it. Like with Angie, I saw her hands before you mentioned it was her hands. Um, it's interesting because you go in with like a force. Like it feels like once you step into the house, the whole energy completely shifts. It's like a
Yeah,
whole like a bubble in front of you that kind of like ripples through the house before you actually get in and you and Angie do your thing.
yeah, that's 100% truth. The negative energies that we have dealt with, they do not like me at all.
Yeah, because I can see you. Well, I don't know about screaming, but definitely getting stern with them and raising your voice. But it's very interesting. Did you have a case, and I hate asking questions, but did you have a case where it seems as if you had to go directly into like a closet? It's like a dark wooded. Do you walk around with a cross in your hand?
Yes.
Because it was a big cross. I don't know. It's just a dark, small, looks like a closet space almost, like it had hard, like the old like wood that used to be on the walls, like that type of wall,
Okay.
the
All
paneling, I
right.
guess.
That's interesting. I definitely have to think about that one. I'm not sure about the whole closet because we go through the entire house.
Hmm. It
We
feels like
go through.
it feels like an indie, like you had to go into like the depth of like a closet to actually get it out because it was trying to hide, is the sense that I was getting.
Oh, we've had
We have had that.
like playing in cat and mouse with us.
Yeah, we have had that. Like we've had it to where we call it playing cat and mouse.
Mm.
So yeah, we definitely have, and I carry a big cross, when I'm in, I carry a cross that looks kind of like that.
Mm.
We I'm a Benedictine, which is a Benedictine priest. So that right there is a Saint Benedict crucifix. He's one of the first. He's the first exorcist ever recorded. So when it deals with like negative energies and things like that, that's who. I'm apostolic, so my apostolic traces back to Saint Benedict. It traces back to John the Baptist, and it also traces back to John the Apostle.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do. We do use that, and we're. I usually once I pull the cross out, I pray, and then I'll have Angie carry the cross because she holds it, while I go to each wall, each window, each mirror. I close all entryways, doorways, portals. When I seal a wall, I say, I seal this wall with the sign of the cross and the blood of Jesus Christ. And I'll say that throughout the entire house. And like I said, we've had such a good success rate behind it. And, I would never even take a case on without my wife with me, without Angie with me.
Yeah.
So I mean, she she is just as much my strength and I am hers.
Yeah. No, I can feel that. You two are very much like, I guess lack of better words, like yin and yang. It's very equal.
We definitely are. She picked up on that and she was like, I feel like you guys are supposed to be together, like your soulmate. And I mean, she said that without me even saying anything. So, and I think that's awesome. I think
We've been together for 17 years.
17.
For 17 years, and we still, on my days off, I want to be home with you.
Yeah, like on her days off, she wants to be home with me. Don't go out with friends. We don't go to bars or nothing like that. We'd rather Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But
No, because you guys very much still enjoy each other's company. Even if,
oh
like I said, even if you happen to be bickering, you still want to bicker. And I mean, you don't want to bicker, but you still want to be in the same room. Like you will
no,
still be angry and sitting on the same couch.
oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I want her near me all the time. I know that she's got to go to work, but deep down inside, I'm like, I wish she was here with me now. And
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss you.
yeah. She says she's cried going to work because she missed me already. And I mean, this is 17 years later. Like, how long have you and Nate been together?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Well, I think you guys are. I love seeing pictures of you guys together. And I'm sure Nate can be a handful too
Oh, we're both stubborn as hell. The two of us sometimes.
with
'Cause
each other. With each
Well,
other.
yeah, because we're both stubborn. I'm fire, he's water. Our signs don't necessarily match. We're technically opposites.
When's her birthday?
When is your birthday?
March 25th.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hers is my wife's is December, March 25th. My birthday is July 27th. I was born. Listen to this. I'm an archbishop. And I was born 7/27/77 at 7 pounds 7 ounces at 7 a.m. in the morning.
So I'd say seven's probably your number then.
No, it's two. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, because it's like 1 2 in that whole number, 27. But no, it is. It is. In the biblical term, seven is completion.
Mhm.
So I definitely I knew that I had this ability to be able to preach, to reach people in a biblical way for a very long time. I've studied the Bible for over 30 years. Over 30 years. And my goal is to mine and my wife's goal is to help as many people as we can.
Yeah.
And I sense that you can too. You said something earlier that really intrigued me. You said that you get animals.
Sometimes, yes. They don't always come through as much as humans, but yeah, I get them.
We have two particular animals that we had
Three.
that were three, excuse me, that were closer to us than anything. Um, as you can see, you know, I've got cats, we've got cats, we've got lots of cats. There's probably 20 cats in this
Indoor,
house.
outdoor.
Yeah, indoor, outdoor. You know, but do you see any animals around, or do you pick up on any animals that may be around?
Well, I don't know. You just said you had 20 cats, so it's a fair bet that it might be one of them. It looked like an orange cat, but it had white paws.
Murky. Yep. That was the cat that I was referring to. His name is Murky.
It
That
feels
was
almost as if you can hear, because it feels like he used to only specifically jump on the foot of the bed. So it feels like you may occasionally feel that, like you hear the little feet come in because it sounds like he had a particular sound, and then little poof, like he like pops on the bed.
yeah. Yeah, I sit in a recliner chair,
Mhm.
and he would jump up at the bottom, and I would put a cover over it, and we used to call it the nook.
Mhm.
And so he would always jump into that. That's interesting how you say that, because like I can send you a picture of Murky and you can see like he's all white paws, and has some orange on his tail and on the top of his head.
Mhm.
But that was my cat.
Well, he looks all white there,
Oh,
but
he's cute. I can see the orange.
yeah, he had an orange on his head. And like he's a ginger. He's definitely ginger.
He would play tug of war.
There's the orange,
Yeah, there's the orange.
and it was on his back too.
He's cute.
Yeah, that's just wild how you pick that up. I've never. That's another thing. I've never had anybody be able to accurately pick that up. Do you see any other animals around us?
I'm gonna say I'll just say it because it doesn't match because all I've ever heard of you having is cats, but there's a black dog.
the dog that we had pass away is a black and tan Chihuahua.
Chihuahuas are my favorite. I'm so sorry for your little Chihuahua.
And we had him so long. We used to open the door and let him outside, and we would let him outside. That's so crazy how you picked up on those two. Especially like you didn't say anything else either. You said that about the cat, and you said, look,
So cute. I love Chihuahuas.
He's
Yeah.
the best.
his name was Marley, but we called him Marmar. We let him outside one day, and we had just gotten home. And usually, when he would go outside, he'd use the bathroom, come back, and but he didn't come back. So my son and I walked out to go see if we can find him. We were calling him. We walked down this little trail that's right behind our house right there. And we found him laid out on the ground, and he had been taloned by a hawk.
I'm sorry.
And that has been like super, super hard, because that was my wife's little that he was the best dog.
I know your wife has told you. I know Angie has told you that she doesn't blame you. It's not your fault. You hold so much guilt.
So does she.
I know you both do, but honestly, was he old? Because it feels like he honestly had something going on internally, like he was trying to get away from the house because he was sick. Neither of you have anything to feel any blame about that.
I don't think.
If it's a different animal.
Now you're speaking almost sick. We have another animal that
That's described.
just passed away that you are describing as being sick.
No, we didn't.
And it is a Chihuahua too. This one was I'm gonna just tell her it's a teacup Chihuahua,
Like 4 or 5.
and
Is
she
it
was
tan?
like,
I'm tan or fawn. I'm seeing similar to my Chihuahua. Much smaller, but spunky little guy.
it's a girl. It was a girl, and she would wear dresses
Oh,
like,
that's why Martini came through for me. Martini, I would hold a dress. She'd put her head through her first paw, and then I'd have to put the other paw through.
and she would wear dresses, and like we would say like, oh, you're why are you naked, and she's really not. She could not stand it to
Not
be
having
naked.
clothes. No,
Yeah,
mine
but
was the same way.
she loved to have clothes on.
So I keep seeing my Chihuahua that I had, Martini. I had fake pearls that I made her. So I'm sorry, it cut out so I didn't get the name. Did they also have a necklace or some special like bedazzled thing? Because Martini had a bedazzled collar.
Her father.
Her collar that we had there. See,
Do you still have it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Because I have Martini's. Hers was a lighter pink with little like fake jewels in it, and I have it with her ashes.
that's exactly what, like hers. She had like fake jewels in her thing, had her name on it.
And it was like a really girly.
It was like a really girly collar. Yeah, but you hit it dead on. Everything
I had to check
that
my
we
tears
just
because
asked. Yeah, because like when you said that,
all three.
like all three, like Angie said, she had to hold back tears because you hit it dead on.
So
And
that's why I almost felt like I was crying, because I don't know if you were turned away, but my face was turning red and I felt like I was about to cry because the
oh,
emotions are strong over there right now. And I'm not a hugger, but I wish I could hug both of you.
oh, look,
Wait, are those professional photos? That's why Martini came through to show me, because Martini also had professional photos done at one point.
No. These aren't. These are just with
Oh,
the
they look
phone.
'em.
My wife took that thing. See that? See, you see the little thing, that little bedazzle thing that had the jewels around it, you know, with her name.
Very girly color.
She does look a
Really
little
good.
spunky, like I said, though. It's funny, though, she came through naked. When she first showed herself to me, she was naked. That's why I wasn't sure it was a girl, because she was naked.
She's probably like, look, I can be naked.
Yeah. Seriously, that surprises me there, because like that dog hated to be naked. But man, this has been awesome, Morgan. I can sit there and talk to you forever, and you know, it's just your aura about you is just absolutely amazing. And I know exactly why Nate's with you, and I know, and Nate, you got a good one, man. You got a really good one, and I really appreciate this conversation. Like you have not only helped us out here, but you have clarified stuff, and you've also revealed stuff. And the reason why I ask you that, you know, about pets right there is because we have never, in the mediums that we've had, they have never been so pinpoint, the color, everything, as you have been tonight.
Do you know what's funny, too? I think this is the first time on a podcast I've ever mentioned that I connect with spirits. With animals, I mean.
I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did, because it's really like I'm shook right now, and it's hard to shake me like that, and I'm shook right now.
Chloe passed away about a month or
Yeah,
2 months ago.
yeah, like literally Chloe passed away like maybe a month and a half ago. Her belly started getting bigger. And she was drinking more water. She was drooling and stuff like that. We really didn't know what was going on. We were going to take her to the vet, and Angie went to work, and she said that she had a bad feeling that night. And out of that bad feeling, she came and found her dead on the couch.
She had every description of her symptoms was something with it. It's like the flipped up, turned around stomach, upside down stomach or something like that. Where
That explains why I was seeing that. Yeah, because I have an issue where I don't like to interrupt people, and I hate when I get things before you say them. But that's basically what I was seeing. But is she also the one that would just literally like dance around in a circle, but where you could hear the tappy taps?
The tappy taps. Yep. Remember when you used to say you'll go outside?
Yeah.
She would spin around the circle. Yeah. She does.
If you think you hear the tappy taps, you do. It's because she comes and visits. They all come and visit, but she still does the tappy taps.
Oh, that's awesome. That's all. We'll definitely be looking for that. Morgan, it's an hour right now, and I know Sean's going to come on and he's going to cut us off, but I want to thank you so much. You have been an inspiration. You've been a blessing. Man, I can't even really describe how I'm feeling right now. But you have been a phenomenal guest, and if you don't mind, I would like to have you back again.
Oh, I'd love to. No, and thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
And I thank you so much. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. You take care. Okay.
All right. Thanks. You too.
All right. Guys, listen, I know that you guys are on, but I have dealt with a lot of mediums, psychics, things like that. I have never had a pinpoint explanation like the way Morgan just had. That is phenomenal. Nate, thank you for allowing your girl to come and be on. It was such a blessing. I feel, I don't know how I'm feeling right now. My wife doesn't even know how she's feeling right now. But I thank all of you for being here. Nate, I thank you for being there. I thank you for commenting. I thank you for being with us. You know, so, but you guys have an awesome week. Stay safe, be blessed always, and stay spooky, people. Peace.
Hey, Shane.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch base with you here a little bit and let you know how many people were in here tonight. You had Gwen in here. You had Jeremy Cotter, Nathan Elwell. He made some comments you might want to check out a little later.
Okay.
Anthony was in the house. Jason Harris. Let's see. Christina Marie. Yeah, you had quite a few in here tonight, and they were actually.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. And again, you know, I appreciate you guys being there, and I hope you guys got something out of that. And believe me, you guys check her out, Morgan Caldwell, and she is such an authentic and nice person. You guys will not.
Super accurate.
Yeah, she is super accurate, guys. So please go check her out. But you guys stay safe, be blessed always, and stay spooky, people. Peace.